Hello, I'm Donna Collins, Executive Director of the Ohio Arts Council. Today's conversation centers on the OAC's Ohio Arts Beacon of Light, Finding Hope in the New Normal. It's a project that was inspired by our board member, Tina Houston. Through the Ohio Arts Beacon, we want to give our artists a place to share, connect, and manage the challenges presented by the coronavirus pandemic. We hope to inspire you while giving artists a platform for connection, expression, and encouragement. We hope you'll sit back and enjoy today's conversation. I'm joined by Alan Bomar Jones, professional equity actor, film and TV actor, and professional director.
That team broke every hole that we had on each other. We should have had them by 10 points. But no, we couldn't stay together. We were a championship team. State champions! What are we now?
Alan, we're so glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
We're thrilled that you're joining us today. And let me take a moment to offer our audience a portion of your bio. Alan is a resident artist with the Human Race Theater Company in Dayton, Ohio. He travels the state as a teaching artist and is on the statewide teaching artist roster, which is a partnership project of the Ohio Arts Council, Ohio Alliance for Arts Education, Ohio Dance, Art Possible Ohio, and the Center for Arts Inspired Learning. You can find more information about the roster on our website, oac.ohio.gov. Click on Resources and then on the Teaching Artist roster. Alan's vast stage, TV, and film acting career spans more than 4 decades. We're not giving away your age though, Alan. With featured performances across the US and Canada, he's truly an international actor. He attended the International School of Broadcasting and earned a Bachelor of Arts in Organizational Management from Wilberforce University. Additionally, Alan is trained in stage combat. He's a national aerobic champion and a certified licensed teacher with years of lifelong learning experience on stage and in media production. Alan, that's a pretty extensive bio, very impressive, and I've only given a part of it.
Thank you. Yes, I've done a lot in those 40 years. I started as a child actor. No, I'm kidding.
We're going to add witty humorist to your list as well. Hey, I know the audience wants to hear from you, so let me offer the first question.
Okay.
Share with us how the COVID-19 crisis is impacting you and your colleagues across the state who are engaged in film, television, and theater work.
Well, when the shutdown started, immediately a lot of things were being discontinued or they had just stopped functioning. So it cost several $1,000s of my income that was coming in. And films in Ohio, which we're very happy to have. This really wasn't a good time period for films in Ohio. Generally, we start picking up in the spring, go through the summer, and we stop getting a lot of offers probably around November. So it didn't affect that quite as much. A lot of my friends are in theater, so very few of them are in film and TV. But the few that were doing stage had to leave their, where they were working and come home, and it's been pretty devastating actually, to not have live performances and to not go to rehearsals and be preparing. So it's had a pretty strong impact.
Absolutely. Economically for all of our workers in the arts, and for all of us audience members, it's devastating too, for sure. So even during this COVID-19 crisis, as an artist, I know you're growing creatively and technically with each new role or production, but what advice do you have for actors, producers, voiceover artists who want to succeed at their craft, whether professionally or as a pre-professional or an amateur, especially during these unprecedented times? What can we be doing while those theaters are closed?
Well, never stop working on your craft. There are, like, for instance, myself, I still do one-on-one lessons with actors, and I do it through Zoom. So never stop learning your craft. This is a great time to continue your studying. So start reading plays. Maybe look and see what seasons are coming up at theaters you're interested in, and read those plays. Or read a play. I always say try to read a play at least one a week, if not two, and you start to gain more insight into productions and into plays and into what people are going to be doing. Also, look into where we may be headed. This is a great time to start investigating virtual theater, virtual entertainment, and everything that you can learn about that, the more advantage you're going to have as an artist as well as a producer. I'm an artistic director for Town Hall Theater, so I've been doing a lot of that and attending webinars. But artists at this time, this is a great time to exercise, to learn more of your craft by reading, and to stay on top of the technology and where we're headed. Be ahead of the game. Don't be behind it.
Alan, this is why your bio is so extensive and long. You're really smart. And in this moment, you've shared a lot of ideas that all of us can do at home to learn a little more, to be engaged, and quite frankly, reading those scripts will surely fill up our soul, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But my wife and I found Broadway shows online, and so we try to watch at least one or two Broadway shows that we have never seen before, that we never knew anything about, at least a couple times a week. So yes, we're being entertained, but at the same time, now we know more about this musical that we have only heard. So try to mix and match your entertainment with learning at the same time.
Oh, Alan, another friend I have in the arts who is an actor and a director, Candace Mazer-Darman, she sends me little emails all the time. Oh, this is streaming live. Don't forget this. The opera is here, from all over the world, chances we might not otherwise have. So thank you for offering these suggestions. And between you and Candace, I am going to be on the right track. Thank you for that.
No problem.
So Alan, when I shared with some of my colleagues and friends about your interview today, two of them asked me to inquire about voiceover work and narration. They're very interested to know about the training needed and what attributes a person must have to even consider this kind of work. Could you give us some tips about that, getting into that voiceover work?
Absolutely. One of the things I've always said is everyone's voice should be heard. You may think to yourself as an actor or an actress or any kind of performer that, oh, nobody wants to hear my voice. But if you listen to cartoons, you listen to commercials, there are a variety of voices out there. So the first thing I'd say is to, again, this is homework, is to find your favorite book or story and read it out loud. Read chapters of it out loud and record yourself and then listen. But you got to listen very critically to whether you're hitting the endings of the words and whether you're articulating, whether you're bringing the words to life. Do you sound boring? The great thing about voiceover is everything that people imagine when they hear is coming from your voice. So that's the first thing, is start training your voice in that way. Go online and find some what do you call them, tongue twisters, and practice those. Again, it's going to make you articulate better. It's going to help you. Your voice and your mouth is just like your hands and your feet and your legs. They need exercise. And if you don't exercise them, then they won't function properly. You'll have what's called a lazy tongue. So once you've gotten that done, then you want to create what we call in the industry a voiceover demo. Now, if you don't listen to this, you're going to do it wrong. A demo should never be longer than 90 seconds. Actually, 90 seconds is considered long to some listeners. My demo is in a minute and 10 seconds, and I have 7 different types of things on there. So if you're doing a minute and 10 seconds and you only have 3, you're reading something too long. You're doing one of the commercials or one of the readings, it's too long. They just need a short snippet of each of those segments. So you have to be very careful that what you put on there, you want it to be your best if it's only 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Once you've put that together, then you want to just kind of shop it around. There are a lot of websites online that you can send your voice demo to. And that's kind of how I got started in the business. But the funny thing is, at the first time I got started, I wasn't very computer efficient. So I ended up sending out over 60 demo CDs and letters to different companies. And I got a call back from a couple of them. But now it's mostly email and electronically sending it. So there are steps to doing it. Prepare yourself, put a demo together, and then start sending it out to people. Okay. In the meantime, while you're waiting, continue to read and record yourself. Continue to get the voices that you think are good for yourself and the kind of things you think you do better. I'm finding that I'm much better at telling stories and narration than I am at documentary things because I'm such an expressive voice as an actor. And one of the things that COVID-19 has forced me to do is I've been creating all these kid stories and I'm posting them at our theater, our town hall theater, so kids can go on and click on there and listen to a story. And I've been doing that, and it's helped me in as far as keeping the training going, and at the same time, it's providing a service. So now's the time to do this.
Alan, this is an example of why you're such a good artist and good teaching artist and teacher.
Thank you.
You are kind and detailed about people's curiosities. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. My next question is about professional theater. And when I took a peek at your website, which is alanbomarjones.com, I saw that you have more than 50 professional theater credits. That's pretty impressive. Might I be so bold to ask you to share a few behind the scenes stories with us of one or two of your favorite shows?
Yes. One that I love talking about, I was cast in Piano Lesson by August Wilson in Columbus, Ohio. And at the time it was CATCO, C-A-T-C-O, Contemporary American Theater Company. And I played Doker, the uncle, and my nephew, played by Brian Bentley, one of my best friends, played Boy Willie, and he comes to take the piano. And so I didn't tell him I was going to do this. And we're performing, and he goes to wrap the rope around the piano and hands it to his buddy who's going to help tie it up. And in the scene, I'm telling him not to do that. And then I just start walking over towards him, which I'd never done before. I started walking over toward him like I was going to stop him. And he just lost it. He had to hide his head behind the piano because he didn't expect that. And he's still delivering his lines, and I'm still walking over there and walking back. And once I realized that I was getting to him, I kept doing it. I didn't do it anymore after that performance, but we got backstage at intermission and laughed so hard because I didn't realize it was going to affect him that way. I was just challenging him as an actor and said, what would he do if Doker started walking over to take the rope loose, And so that was one fun thing that I did. The next one, one of my very, very close friends who's no longer with us, Sheila Ramsey, was in a show. Yeah, she was in a show that I was in at The Human Race. And Sheila had the habit when she's backstage of talking a lot and not paying attention. And it was The Good Times Are Killing Me was the show. So I called one of the stage hands over and said, do me a favor. I said, come around that corner and say, Sheila, you're supposed to be on stage. She said, okay. So she's just talking away and so the girl runs around the corner and says, Sheila, you're supposed to be on stage. She jumped up and she's running. I don't know if you know anything about The Human Race, but backstage is pretty long from one end to the other. And this was like the scene shot. And she's running and she's running and she gets around the corner. And then all of a sudden, she comes back and she looks at us with this face like, you dogs. And we busted out laughing. Matter of fact, we laughed so loud, the stage manager had to come back and say, shh. But that was a very fun moment with Sheila and I, and it's just one memory that always stays in my head.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for remembering Sheila. That's so nice. And I'm so glad to know that story. Thank you. I'm going to pivot a little bit, one, because I'm got all teared up here and I've got to think of something happy. How about this? When I told my grandboy Chance that I knew an artist who has stage combat training, his ears immediately perked up and he wondered, when can he meet you? And I want to know him. Where's his picture? Where does he live? Can we get in the car? And I said, we can't even go to the same house right now, Chance. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
You can meet him later. But for the folks in the audience, and for my grandboy who's interested in this specialty, or they're curious about stage combat and the training you've done, what can you share with us about the skill and why you decided to become trained in this area?
What's his name?
Chance.
Okay. All right, Chance. By the way, there's a TV show named after you on Hulu. Anyway, Chance, I was, I'd say I've been with the human race for maybe 2 or 3 years. And they kept putting on different workshops, and some of the artists in the company would teach them. And Bruce Cromer, who is an excellent stage combat person, was teaching stage combat. So I attended that workshop. And then a week later, one of the artists at Wright State University was teaching a stage combat workshop. So I attended that. And I try to get a variety of ideas from people who are doing workshops. So that's the first thing, Chance, is, look around and find out who's doing, whether they're doing workshops or seminars or whatever. And it's not necessarily something you take, I mean, unless it's in college, but that you would take from someone like maybe in lessons, you could, but it's not necessary. If you go to a seminar or workshop, you can learn a lot in just that short of a time period. And so I continue to get recertified in that. Now I haven't done it in maybe 5 or 6 years, but if I get a chance to, probably next year, if we're allowed around people, I'll get certified again. But it helped me out because I was in Zorro and I played Ramon, who was the bad guy, and we had to do a lot of sword fighting. So the stage combat helped us in that. And I was really blessed to have a good actor playing Zorro, because we would go in before rehearsals, we would stay after rehearsals, and we would go through our numbers, because there's counts that you have when you're doing sword fighting, that when the play finally opened, it was at Town Hall Theater, that people thought that we were really fighting, because it's not just about hitting the right sword points or bending over when the punch comes. It's what you as an actor bring to that. You're still acting. And so the more acting you give to that stage combat, the more believable it comes. And people just love it. And this is going to sound weird when I say that, but I get to die in that play. And so he takes his swords and he slides them under my arms and he pulls back. And I grab like that and all this blood comes down. But there were little blood packs that we had planted in there. So when I grabbed my armpits, I burst them. Except one night you saw me, I was doing this because the other one wasn't busting. And then I fall down. But people were just floored at not only how well we did it, but how the special effects work. So I say, go for a chance. I think every actor should learn stage combat, because you never know when you're going to get in a scene where you might have to take a punch or hit someone or fall on something or trip over something. You never know. And all that stage combat, the pratfalls, all of that comes in handy. I hope I didn't talk too long, Chance.
No, that's great. So, Alan, I can see another workshop in your future. I would bet there are a lot of young people who would be interested in stage combat and how it really works. And okay, so there's an idea to make some money for the future. How's that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I just have to get recertified again.
I don't think that's a problem for you.
Pretty ambitious.
Thank you. So when you think about what's happening in our world today, let's talk about that for a minute. How are you being inspired and talk to us about your hopes for the future. We're just experiencing so much so fast,
Mhm.
but yet it's so slow.
Yeah. What keeps me inspired and what I find very impressive are the churches, what they're doing in the community and how they're stepping up, and the people that are all part of the church, the members, the people that run the churches, how they are really reaching out and helping people and providing for people. And we, as a member of our church, we consistently every week take food and things to the church to be handed out to help others. So that's the first thing that's very not only impressive to me, but it's inspiring. It makes me feel good to be a part of that. Um, I hope that this becomes something as simple as a common flu, that eventually, if someone gets it, they take a shot, they take a pill, everything's fine, and we're not shut down and we're not distanced from each other. This is a different time in our lives, but it's also a time where it's forcing us to be creative. It's forcing us to think outside the box. It's forcing us to really value what's important. This is as sad as it sounds, but it's been a great time for families because they get to spend a lot of time together that they never had. Now, some of them may be tired of it, but it's a great time to really get to know one another and to really um, appreciate your family and who you are and what you have. As an artist in theater, it's caused me to look outside the box and say, okay, how can we entertain the same audience without having them sitting in there next to each other, possibly causing some problems? And because of that, because we are forced to do that, now we have to find a way to entertain people, how to create theater, how to still have kids and adults and everyone involved, and provide a similar service, provide the same dynamic that we can. And I'm enjoying doing that. It's got me back to writing virtual plays that people could use. And I hope that eventually we'll be able to bring those people back in to the theaters, that we will be able to continue, but that we continue by experimenting more. And that's pretty much what I hope.
You're right. Experimentation, innovations, engagement in a different way,
Yes.
it all adds up. And I'm so delighted that you're finding the positive in it.
Hmm.
Um, Alan, thank you for being with us today. It's been a wonderful conversation. And as we wrap up, I just can't tell you how much we appreciate you and the talents you bring to Ohio. You are a beacon
Thank
of
you.
light, and together we are finding hope in the new normal. To our audience, if you want to know more about Alan and his work, you can visit his website at alanbomarjones.com for more information. And for more inspiration and stories from our Arts Beacon of Light, Finding Hope in the New Normal project, we welcome you to visit us at oac.ohio.gov/Ohio Arts Beacon. You can also follow the OAC's Arts Beacon of Light on Instagram at Ohio Arts Beacon. We hope artists will submit their stories and share the light in your world with all of us. Until next time, let's all find hope in the new normal. And remember, the arts in Ohio are better when we work together.